Battery. Okay.
No, we're live.
Oh, we're live. Oh, we're live. Well, welcome. This is Unplugged, Coach Banks. Okay, so here's where I'm going at with that. And for those of you guys that are tuning in, I'm Coach Banks coming to you from Clay Banks Studio International, on-camera professional Hollywood functional acting studio to help you better understand what it takes to work in film and TV today. Yeah. Okay, so open platform extemporaneous talking is like throwing you in the deep end of the pool. When you run out of things to say at 15 and 30 and 45 seconds and I say, keep going, that's me not letting you get to the edge. It's forcing you to continue to stay in that place and have to work through that thing of uncomfortability and, now some of you don't. Some of you need an hour up here. Okay, I get it. You can talk. You don't have an issue. Some of you, you finish a thought and you're like, I don't know where to go. That's keeping you from the edge. And then when you do learn all that stuff in being thrown in the deep end of the pool, when you do go out there, because I remember as a little kid, I would hang on do you guys know what lifeguard towers are? The towers that are on beaches, have you ever seen those? You'd be on the tower and a different guard was appointed to a different tower all up and down the coast. I would get to sit with the guys until, I was a kid. I had to learn until I got to an age, I don't know what age it was, maybe 16, I don't remember anymore, 14 possibly, where I started working and they let me do the radio. And I was the control guy with the radio, and then they put me on a tower, and then eventually you're out there, and then I remember helping to save that first person. And you get conditioned. And you learn how to do it, but you're in it every day. You're in it all the time. That's how it is. Now here, the functional aspect of acting is you have lifestyles. Wherever you're tuning in from, wherever you are right now, and we've got from England to Canada to here in the U.S., to wherever you are, you've got lifestyles and things that we're dealing with. Now, we often justify the reason why we don't train as hard as we could or put in as many hours as we could with the fact that we have things to do and we have a lifestyle. And this is where I want to challenge you to think about, well, what are you doing and what do you want to have happen and how involved are you in your own life of the things that you want to do? And it's not a complicated thing because it has to do with time and money. Give me anybody's calendar and a financial statement, whether it's a checkbook or a credit card statement or whatever, wherever you spend your money, your Venmo or PayPal or whatever it is, and it's not hard to see who you are because where your time goes, where your money goes, is where your interest is. It's not a science. It's not a guessing game. It's pretty much a science. And so my online course, ACT, Art, Craft, and Technicalities of On-Camera Acting, which you can check out and you can see by going to CBSiAct.com. It is arguably the most comprehensive online on-camera acting course available. I start the first actual chapter or session on time management. Because if you're not managing your time to do the course, you're not going to get as much out of the course as you would if you do manage your time properly. This makes sense, grunt? Okay, great. You've got to manage time, and then you have to stand guard at the gates of that time that you sectioned off. Because if you don't, have any of you dug a hole in the sand by the beach? What happens when you get to a certain point of depth with that hole? Water comes in. And when you dig deeper, what happens when you try to uphold the sides? They keep caving in. They keep caving in and they keep caving in because the sand will continue to occupy that space unless you reinforce it. If you reinforce it, you now can dig a hole and not worry about the sides caving in on the hole. Well, that hole is your time. And the sand is all the lifestyle and all the activity that's around our sacred time of trying to do things. Working on your line lifting, working on character work, working on your monologues, doing artist adventures, studying, processing, whatever it is that you're doing, acting, rehearsing. You got to put that time away, and you have to reinforce that time, and then you have to stand guard because everything's going to try to come in and steal that time from you. You know it. You know, it happens all the time. How does it happen? You're rushing to do something, and you're going to go do something for 2 hours, and you're rushing to get there, and maybe even on your way to get there, and somebody calls it off, or it gets canceled. And you go, or you just go, I can't make it. And you go, oh, I have these 2 hours. And your brain will often go, oh, well, I could do this, this, and this. And then as soon as you start to go in and do that, survival's going to take over that 2 hours. And it will take over that time all the time. But I have so many examples that are inappropriate, and I'm not going to go there. Let's say, okay, Leif just flew in from Miami. It's about a 4.5 hour flight from Miami. Is it 5? 4? It's a 4.5, 5 hour flight, depending on how many drinks the pilot had, from Miami to Los Angeles. Now, here's the deal. Can you do anything about that time? You're in a capsule. You get in, they seal it. The federal government regulates it. And you are in that thing by law and physics until it lands, and they open the door and say you can leave. I don't know if you've ever thought about it that way, but you are sealed in there by not just the physics of it, but also the law. The only other thing you can do would be wrap a chain around the plane. I mean, you are in that for that period of time, and there's nothing you're going to do about it outside of a crash. So you have those 4.5 hours. And you do it. Wherever you're flying. Maybe you're flying an hour and a half. Maybe you're flying 13 hours. Wherever it is, you're doing it. Why? Because that's the way it works. Well, you need to show up more often. That's the way it works. So that chain, that metaphoric chain wrapped around that plane with that sealed door and the federal law is called discipline. And it's that discipline that you either do or don't have to be able to make time and room for those things that you're really, truly, honestly seeking after. Now, those of you guys that are in personal relationships or have been in personal relationships, often the other person will hold you accountable to that time, and if you don't, they will scold you or create a fight or an argument or get mad. Undesirable emotions that we want to stay away from. So if you're anywhere near a nice person, you're going to do what you can to adhere to those things that you promised this other person as to not be condemned, whipped, whatever level of it is. You see? And it has to do with what are the ramifications of me doing this or not doing this. And if the ramifications are not intense and severe enough, you won't do it. If they are, you will do it until you discipline yourself to make it that for you, and then your life will respond accordingly. It will. Just like diet, fitness, and health. If you look in the mirror and you go, I'm not liking what I'm seeing, it's not complicated. You improve what you're putting in your body. You exercise so that you're burning more calories than you're taking in, and you do certain things to build tone and definition. And if you do that over time, you will see the changes. Now, if you don't do it, and then something else gets in the way, and then you're only doing a 10-minute workout, you're doing a 15-minute workout, you can't really, you got this, that, you look in the mirror, things either stay the same or they get worse. This is physical. I mean, you can gauge and you can watch this. I've been watching this body do a lot of things for a long time, and it has to do with mentality first. I look in the mirror and I go, yeah, it's not quite where I want it to be. I know I got to go to work. And I go to work and I work on it. I get it where it is and I go, yes, I want to maintain this. This is what I like. This is good. I want to stay in this discipline. And then people are going to say, you're going to do it. I can't. I got to work out. And then people start to know when to talk to you or when not to talk to you, because nothing's going to get in the way of that, because you've maintained a discipline. You should be doing the same thing with your acting training for your development. And if you are not, you haven't built serious enough muscles to do so. You have to cut time out for the creative, the artistic, the technical. You have to make room for those things. Now, we don't always like the technical. Well, when you learn to like the things you don't like, there's not much you don't like. So you start looking at the execution, the intentionality, the precision of things, which is the season that we're in right now, because obviously we just finished a month on intention. And for those of you that are tuning in now, you can go back on our Facebook page, go back on our YouTube channel or our Instagram feed, and find the teachings, a series on intention and intentionality, and it will up your game. We're also going into a precision showcase. And a precision showcase, these are scenes that need to be executed or they will not work. Not scenes that will allow you all kind of emoting and you know, it's not that type of a showcase for those scenes. It's all about execution and precision, because that's the season that we're in right now, to develop the technicalities, your craftsmanship. Now, we had an exclusive team, a meeting, an event Monday night with the inner core team of CBSi. And it was a really great night, and all kind of wonderful things went on. And I said I'd like to end the night with what we call a YouTube off. And a YouTube off is when everybody picks their best YouTube video to show off. And it can only be a few minutes. And it's almost like show and tell. It's like, oh, wait till you see this. And then we fire it up on the big screen, and all of us get to experience what this person has chosen as their horse in the race. And then the next person goes, and they see if they can't one-up that, and the next person, and so on. And you do a couple of rounds of it, and it's kind of cool, because you get turned on to things you didn't know about, and you really kind of see the heart and the passion of the other people. Well, and I've done this several times. It's really a blast. And this particular time, Monday night, for whatever reason, it went to unbelievable music. It just, by its own nature, became a musical theme. It wasn't intended. It just went that way. They can go all kind of ways. They can have no theme. It's just, oh, check this out. It's somebody playing chess and somebody climbing a mountain and somebody, you know, jumping off a cliff or whatever. It's you never know what you're going to get. But this time it was all musical. And it went into precision music. And it was so cool to spend this time watching all these choices. We did like 3 or 4 rounds. It just kept going, because one after another were brilliant artists that were all executing their craft vocally or instrumentally, however they were doing it with complete precision, and just being inundated with that for about an hour or so, whatever, I don't remember even how long it went, of just putting your eyes on that level of focus, because what you put in is what's going to come out. Garbage in, garbage out, right? Junk in, junk out, greatness in, greatness out. So I'm just challenging you guys. What are you putting your attention to? Boy, this chick is just like something else, isn't she? I don't care how much I turn this off. I did a whole self-tape with it on mute. Everything's on mute. It's on mute right now. She keeps talking. I have no idea what to do. Okay. Putting your eyes on brilliance. Putting your eyes on brilliance. And just saying, I'm going to do an artist adventure of just looking at the best of everything. And it's as simple as doing a search and going, best ball player, best chess player, best vocals, top of the heap chef, whatever, and then watching the disciplines that they operate in. And just taking some time to get that in you, because if you're looking at dull, rounded things, and you're trying to be sharp, there's something wrong. It's like, you know, squeezing oranges and then trying to get grapefruit juice out of it. It just doesn't work. It doesn't go together. So you've got to work on thinking about, what am I doing with my time? What am I doing with my focus? What is my money going towards? And that's the first chapter of the ACT course. First chapter of everything I have to teach about on-camera functional acting for film and TV, I talk to you about these dynamics. Because if you don't have these things in place, you're kind of paddling upstream. You're not going to get as much out of it. It's like trying to wipe up a wet counter with a wet paper towel. It's not going to work, but you get a very dry, absorbent paper towel, and you're going to absorb everything up. You're going to clean up better. So it's the same thing with what we're doing. And I say this to you, and I'm going to end this teaching with this. I got a text this week, and I'm not saying any names, but it's from a student in the studio. And I complimented this student because their work they did some good work consistently this week. And I reached out to this person and I complimented them. And sent them a text and just said, you know, and I'm not going to say exactly what I said, but I just want to let you know I'm seeing the progress, I'm seeing your growth, I'm seeing your improvement, and I'm very proud of the work that went on this week. It was impressive and fun to experience. And I get this text back. And the text back says, thank you, and again, I'm paraphrasing it. I'm not going to say it word for word. Thank you. La 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 la. I really have just decided to stop being a lazy actor. And this person has been studying acting for years. This person has been studying with me for years. And you guys know how I teach. You know what I stay on top of. You know the disciplines that I instill in you. Day in and day out and day in and video out and project in and project out. You guys know how I roll. And to hear somebody say, or hear them say that they listen to me, but after all this time they're finally getting off their butt and taking things seriously and then seeing the result, that's how powerful laziness is. That's how powerful lack of assertiveness is. That's how powerful all the forces are that are around us 24/7 to prevent us from operating at our peak state. So do not take it for granted, because opportunities fall on the just and the unjust. You never know, no matter where you are and who you are, when some opportunity is going to open up some way to some significant project. And you're going to look at it and go, I got to call coach. I need a session. And we get the phone call. I got to get this self-tape due. It's due in a day and a half. And it's a major part. I've never done anything this big. Get it all the time, guys. I get it all the time. I promise you I get it all the time. And then usually what's going to happen with that person is it's going to be a hold it together kind of a thing, because they're not in the position to be able to handle that kind of a project right now. They're not in the position to do it. And it's what runs through my head. I'm sitting there, I'll be working with that person just going, this is kind of fruitless. It's kind of fruitless. I don't say it because, they were in there trying to do their best, but they're not laying down any product. And then you have the other actor that's training all the time, taking a couple of classes, picking up privates, really after this, doing it. You're at it. A lot of you guys within earshot are those actors. You are that actor. And opportunities will come in, same situation, day and a half. I just had it happen this week, 2 of them. 2 huge, huge projects this week. One was 15 pages of dialogue. 15 pages. It was huge. The other one was 3 huge fat scenes, like I think it was 9 pages. Leads. These were leads. Great shots. Jobs that can change your world. And both these actors were good actors. And came in, first thing was, lines were in place. Oh, there's a flub up here and an off line and the skate skidded off the ice here and there. But that's just part of it. They knew the scene. They knew the lines. And now what we do is we build the character. We build the nuance. We find the magic. And how do I know it? Because when I'm reading opposite you, I'm in the scene. And I'm like, I'm in the scene. And I know when I'm in the scene. I'm a professional actor. I know when I'm in the scene and when I'm not in the scene. You know it. I mean, it's just like anything that's good or bad. Anything you guys do, you know when it's like, okay, and when it's a great day. You know when you're cooking that meal and it's like, okay, you're cooking the meal. Oh, that was a great meal. You know the difference. And it's the same thing with the scenes. And everybody knows it. So, just before you guys came in, I did a self-tape with Leif, one of the actors in the studio here. I said, Coach, I need an hour before class. Got 4 pages. Pretty cool role. Gangster kind of stuff. I said, cool. Okay, he comes in. We're set up. I said, get on there. Let's go. And we do the scenes. And I said to him flat out, I said, okay, let's just shoot a few of them until we find the magic. Find the right one. And I'm in the scene with him. I'm playing 3 or 4 thugs, and he's reading for the thug he's reading for. And we're going through the scene, and we're going through the scene, and doing it, and we're doing it, and then we get in it, and then we're in it. Now this one take, we're in it, and I'm like, oh, I'm a character now. I'm in the scene. There it is. And it's almost like an Etch-a-Sketch. The whole picture in my inner mind starts to come, and now I'm in the bar. I'm having this conversation. I feel everything. I see it. I hear the sounds. Everything starts, the imagination, boom. All the ingredients are there to activate the imagination. And now I'm in the scene. And we're in the scene. And he's like, how was that one? I said, I was in the scene. Great. Once you're in the scene, you know you're in it. You're now, everything is clicking and ticking and it's happening. And lines aren't even on the table. It's like asking a 10-year-old if they're still in diapers. I mean, outside of, very sensitive situations, that should not be the situation. You got to leave the diapers after a certain time. And now it's you take care of business and you get on with what you need to do. That's where you are with lines. And you're not going to get that good with lines unless you're working at it all the time. And even Gabe, what he just said earlier in the impromptu open platform extemporaneous talk exercise, how he was giving us an example on how all the line lifting was helping him. And it'll help you with anything because the skills will be there. They will show up when you need them if and when you do what you need to do to have them there ready to go. Because if you go to if you go to a battle, you go to a gunfight, and you don't have anything, you're not going to do very well. You go to a gunfight with a knife, you're still probably not going to do very well. But you go to a gunfight with a gun that's loaded and ready to go, you're going to have a chance. I know it's kind of I don't know why I'm using this example, but the point being is you need tools. You need weapons. You have to have these things in place. If they're not in place, they will not be available for you when you need them. Now you're here. You're in the studio. You're working. You're listening to this video. That's great. You got to keep up on this and make it a regular part of your lifestyle so that anybody could call you at any given point in time during the week, and it wouldn't be odd for them to hear, I'm tied up for 2 hours, I'm working on my craft. I'm tied up, I'm preparing dinner. I'm tied up, I've got to do the dishes. I'm tied up, I need to vacuum the house. I'm tied up, I'm working on my craft. See how that works? You got to install these things in you. And when you do, over time, it will pay you off astronomically. And you will be so thankful that those skills were there. And it's just like Daniel's son. I know karate. Because he just kept sanding the deck and waxing the car and painting the fence to the point of ad nauseum. And then Mr. Miyagi shows him, hi! And he's like, ah! How did I learn this? Aha! Show up tomorrow. Keep coming back. Keep doing the work, and you'll be prepared. Cool? Yeah, you don't pay tuition, so, quit talking to me. Anyway, for those of you that don't know what that's all about, my phone just keeps going off, and that's that. Okay, guys, that's about it for this. We're going to move into your assignments now. So, Kendall, now we're going to go into the assignments. This was just to tread water while we